Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kili. Hope you are doing good. So today we'll be learning how to make this basque gown. I would say it's a basque dress with a gathered ruches. So that is what we'll be learning. It's an off shoulder. I made the one I wore on 25th of that, the red and black dotted gown that I wore. It's an off shoulder. It's an off shoulder. Like it's not one shoulder and it's not off shoulder. It's an off shoulder. It's a slanted shoulder dress. But here, because I have it already, I'm not going to make this off shoulder the same shoulder, but I'll show you how you can achieve that one. Then also show you how I want this one to be. I just want it to be a shoulder dress, maybe with a keyhole neckline or something like that. But that is what I'm using here. So I have a chiffon fabric. I just have this long chiffon fabric. I don't know how many years it should be, up to 5 years, which I'm not going to use. The down part has this flower pattern. The center is just plain white. Then the upper part also have the flower stuff. What I'm going to do is that the upper part will have this flower, then the center, that's the back side, will just be plain white. Then the down part, the one I'm going to gather, will have this flower pattern. So that is what I'm going to do. Please, for the root part, for the gathered part, you need a long strip. Like you need it to be very long. This is 5 years. I may just have to cut out the straight part, the 5 years. Then other parts I can just manage it, because yes, and it's very transparent, and I just end up using the lining to the same cloth to line it, but I feel that it will not line unless I double it up to 3 times, which I don't have strength for. So let's just get started. Please, before we start, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Thank you. So here I have my pattern paper. So I advise you to cut this on a pattern paper before cutting it out on your fabric, because you have to draft it out, cut the back and everything. So your fabric should be on fold. Your pattern paper you should be on fold for this upper part because of the off shoulder. So the first thing is to get your line, your starting line. Your underbust, my underbust is 15. Then I added 2 inches to get the half length. There's the half length. My half length is 17. The total length I'm going to use for this gown is 40, because I noticed the first one was so short. I had to add band, that is the red dotted one. So I got my shoulder went down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. I got my sorry, my chest line. You had to get your chest line is your round bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. Then you get it. Then I extended my shoulder line. That is what I'm doing, just to get a straight line. Then you get the midpoint of your armhole, go in by ½ inch. That is for your front neckline, sorry, for your front armhole. I use 4 inches width, 4 inches depth for the front, 1 inch depth for the back. Then you connect your neckline. The next thing is to measure your round bust measurement. Connect your shoulder slope, measure your round bust. My round bust is 39 divided by 4, that is 9.75. My waist is 32 divided by 4 is 8. Then I added one inch allowance. one inch allowance. Sorry, just cut your back armhole. I made a mistake and just had to cut everything, but it's okay. Then you notch your shoulder. Notch your shoulder neckline for you to know. Then you draft out the back. You just place the front on the back. You remove your zipper allowance. I removed 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance. Then please don't cut your neckline. You don't have to cut your neckline. We don't need it now because we won't be needing the neckline. Just cut exactly what you have, your armhole, your neck. Don't cut out the neck. Don't then notch it, please. You just have to notch where your neck will stop. You have to notch that part, please. Then you slit back, open your zipper allowance. I'm marking my zipper allowance because you are going to join your zipper allowance. Yes, join your zipper allowance. Go and join your zipper allowance. That is the pattern paper. Yes, sew on it. So sew on it, and here I'm done doing that. So the next thing is to open it up. So I'm done joining the zipper allowance. The next thing is to, yes, for you to know your zipper allowance, what you should do next is to, when you get your fabric, wrong parts here, the wrong parts should be inside, like should be like this. Open it up. The wrong part, it depends on where you want your slant to be, your left or your right. Then let's say here, and then let's say this place now is the right part of your dress, of your front. Here is the right part. Here is the wrong part. This place is the wrong part. Here is the right. The right part of the back should face down. Should face down. While the wrong part should be up this way. Then the right part of the front should be up. The right part of the front should be up. Then the wrong part should be down. So this is it. Please catch what I just said, because you need to understand it very well. Here's the right part of the dress, like the front part of the dress, not the inner one should be up. The front should be just as if you want to wear it. This is the way you wear it now. It's the right part that you're wearing. So this is the right part, this is the right part, and the wrong part is inside. That is what I'm saying. So you place it, make sure they are equal, they match each other very well. Then you go to the notch shoulder, look at the notched part of this place and the other notch part. Please place them very well. The next thing is to determine how low you want your off shoulder to be, how low you want the off part to be. If you want it from here I have 4 inches. If you want it to lower up to 5 inches, then you come down by 5 inches from this upper part. That's why you don't need to cut the neckline. You come down by 5 inches from here to, you know that you have slanted part, you can -1, then get your 5 inches. You can -1 and get your 5 inches. So the next thing to do is to draw a curve from this notched part. If you I'm doing this slant is going to my, this off shoulder part will be my left hand side. So if you are doing for your left hand side, so this is the part. If you are doing for your right hand side, you should go with this other knot. So I'm going for the left. So I'll connect this from this I'll connect a slant line. Curve it the way you want it. If you want a sweetheart neckline here, you can give it a sweetheart neckline. So I'm just going from this to meet this, from this, or you can, if you still want it to be lower here, you can make it this way. Depends on how low you want it. So like I said, I want to use this for my keyhole. So I'll just cut out the front. Okay, I'll cut out the front. I'll not cut the two. I'll cut out the front. So the next is to cut the both of them. Make sure they, so the thing, if you're cutting yours, you just cut the back and the front equal. But here I wanted to use it for a shoulder a shoulder a shoulder line dress, but which I ended up using this slant shoulder. So if you're cutting yours, please cut exactly the same thing. Just cut the front and back the same thing. I wanted to use the back part to draft my shoulder keyhole upper part, but I ended up using the same thing. So please just cut exactly what you have for the back. Should be exactly what you have for the front. But here I ended up not using the back also, so I had to trim everything to be the same thing. Now for the down part, that is the skirt part, you measure, you can cut it on fold if you have a pattern paper enough space, but here I don't have, so I'm not cutting it on fold. Just get to remember that we'll minus 17, the upper part is 17, so you're just going to remove that 17 to get your length, your skirt part length, the basque part. So I minus 17 to get 20 inches, which I later reduced to 19 inches because I don't want it to come out short, like really short. I want something that I can be able to wear to church or any other place comfortably. So then I got my hip location. I used 8 for my hip line. That is, from that part I didn't remove the 17 inches again. So from my waistline I got my waist location, which is 8. I use 8. Then I got my round waist measurement, that is 1144. My waist is 32. Then everything I connected it. Then at the down part I removed 1 inch just to get that pencil effect. So from the backs, for you to get the back line from your hip, from my hip I went down, from my hip line I went down by 2 inches, then connected it straight like with a slant line. That is a back effect just from your hip. But if you want it to go maybe lower at your hip part, then you can go down by 3 to 4 inches, but it's always good to be high at your hip line. So that was it. I'm done cutting it. Now it's time to cut it on the fabric, but first we have to remove the long pattern that we are going to gather for the root part, that is for the back part. Then I measured the line, the length of the material that I'm going to use. I measured out 10 inches. If it's too long, if I feel that it's too long, I will remove it. The total amount, the total length of this fabric that I have to I mean, the one that I'm going to gather is like 240 40 240, like the total amount. You can cut, maybe yours can be longer. It depends on how full you want yours to be. If you have enough fabric, which is 4 years can do for this 4 years, because you just have to double for you to get it fuller. It's always good for the ruched part, that is the gathered part, to be very full. And that was it. So I just had to, that is 10 inches long. You see that after attaching it, it will not be really that long. So you just place your fabric, you place that your back's weight, sorry, you place your waist part on your fabric, then cut out exactly the same thing. This is me trying to cut out the only the white part. Remember that I said that I'm going to use the white part. So this is how it looks. This is how yours should look. This is the front part of the skirt. So this is what I have, and this how it should look. So after attaching it, I'm just checking to see how it looks. I can't wait to, yeah. So the next thing is to cut the back parts. Remember that you remove your zipper allowance. I brought out zipper allowance of 1.5, just like the upper parts, 1.5. So just please take out. I'm not going to be adding that to this, so I just want it to be plain. This is chiffon. I'm using chiffon. You can use crepe, ankara, any fabric that you find, like anyone that you have that you feel that you want to use. So I have enough chiffon at home. That is what I'll be using for some of our tutorial. So that is it. Here to cut the down part, like, sorry, to cut the other parts, please pay attention on how you can cut this. I just decided not to uh fasten it that way so that you know, please. Then I decided to go with the off shoulder pad, like that one is red and white, this is white and is it green or what? So let me just have it, these two, because I really love that polka dots on that red and white that I made. It's so free with me. I don't feel, whenever I'm wearing it, I don't feel like I'm wearing anything. Just there for me, just gives me that ashawo and good girl vibe and all that. So I just have to cut exactly the same thing. Then you open up your zipper, you losing the thread that you remember that I asked you to join the back part. So you just have to open it up, then trim that zipper part for it to rhyme with the other parts. So the next thing is to separate them. Please, not your zipper part, especially the shorter one, the off shoulder one. Please, not your zipper part, for you to know where your zip is, for you to know the place that you place your zipper. Please notch it. You can do your, sorry, you can remove 1 inch for your back, so to remove any puffiness at the back, that is the zipper part. But I prefer doing this after joining the lining and everything. Please note the back, for you to know the back and the front. Make a notch, especially the zipper part. Please notch it, please. So for you to cut the front, you have to use the right part of your fabric. Please, the way I'm placing it, just look at the fabric. That is the right part of the fabric, that is the front part of the fabric. Just place it. If you want yours to be at the left, that is the slant part to be at the left, just place it the way I'm placing it. But if you want yours to be at the left, then you have to turn it the other way around. But your fabric, this your right fabric for the front, should be facing front this way. Please, you should make it to face front this way, unless you are going to make a mistake. Don't cut or fold, you just have to open it up this way and cut it. So this is the front, it's ready. This is me making sure that the armhole and everything
rinse very well. So to cut the back, please, you are not cutting on fold, you are going to cut the two patterns separately. And remember that for the front, remember that the fabric, the right part was facing up. Here for the back, you don't do it. The right part of the back should face down, like the right part of the fabric should face down. The front, like the part that is more colorful should face that. I don't know how to put it again, but if you
So
check
this
it,
way,
you
on
know
the back,
that
the right
I'm
side should be
using
facing
the
on the other
back
way too. If
of
you're cutting from
this
front, you want to
fabric.
cut from facing this way to
That
face
is
it.
the right part
Face
should
it this way,
face
cut it. So I'll
down,
just cut it
because
straight.
this is the back, the way you did it for the pattern, that is how you should do it. And please, you have to open it up, you have to cut separately, and notch the zipper part for you to know where your zipper part is. So this is it, and this is the way it would look. The right part should face down, the wrong part should be inside. So this is it for the back part. So here it is. Now is to cut the sleeve, just our normal sleeve. The next thing is to cut out your sleeve, measure around your armhole. Whatever you have is what we are going to use to cut it. So here my sleeve length, I use 25, both for the folding, but because we are going to add elastic to the cuff part, so I use 25 inches. I'll use 1 inch to fold it. So I got my 25 inches line, I extended it very well. The next thing is to, from your starting line, from where you started taking your the next thing is to, sorry, to extend, to know the wideness of your sleeve. So I used 16 inches for my cuff wideness. So from that upper part, from my starting line, I went down by 4 inches, then I made this kind of cuff line to make that 16 inches line. Then I measured my armhole, wherever my armhole, that is 10.5. Then I got my 10.5 line, which you are meant to notch. That is the part you will close up, then you attach it to your sleeve. This is it, just that simple. And yeah.
So after cutting, I have the bow sleeve now. The parts, so you bring out one sleeve, that's the part you attach to the off shoulder part. You, whatever you minus for your off shoulder, I minus 5, then I had to reduce it by 1 again. So I'm using 2 inches, I'm removing 6 inches. But let me just use 5 inches because I'm still going to fold the upper part. I'm still going to attach this thing, an elastic to the upper part. So I'll reduce it by 4.5. So I'll extend this 4.5 line, I'll fold it by 1 inch. So I'll have others left. So this is it. I have 4.5 here, but you can just use 5 inches and fold it by 1 inch. So I have, so you just cut this part out. Good evening.
So here is the sleeve. I'll teach you how to join it. That is the sewing